Alright friends, welcome back to another episode of Tactical Enlightenment. This is another one of our episodes of our Freestyle Tactics series. This series is designed to demonstrate difficult or strange situations you may face, and then deploy advanced and unique tactics in the pursuit of victory. Welcome back again, friends, to another episode of Tactical Enlightenment. Our YouTube channel is dedicated to helping players at Bannerlord get better through the use of advanced tactics in field command. Facing the prospect of a battle today, this is another one of our freestyle episodes. These episodes I've sort of shot live, kind of wandering around the map in my campaign, and sometimes the battles are worth saving, sometimes they're not. So I'm just sort of muttering into my mic as I wander around here. At the times where my wife was operating her business, and I'd have a spare moment to come in here and get a little killing action on a little Bannerlord. So today, that is a fucking huge force. So this is happening more and more, of course, in our late game campaign. I don't even have anybody else I can call to me. I've got 1,600 guys. We can do some upgrades here. At least everybody's healthy, but this is... it looks like we're outnumbered at least 2 to 1. The Northern Empire has been sieging this particular city here for what seems like a decade of games. Like, they just come and they siege it, and we beat them back, and they siege it, and we beat them back. And yeah, I mean, we're outnumbered almost 3 to 1. Now, I wouldn't attack, except I have 2 other castles and cities that are under siege here. So if I leave, I'm definitely going to lose this city. So it's one of those situations where we're going to go ahead and try and attack. One saving sort of Hail Mary to this is that if we do lose, we can retreat, regroup, and all won't be lost. We won't be captured. It won't be a complete disaster. So I'm going to set up on this ridge here. It's got a nice little bowl leading down to another ridge where the enemy will have to sort of approach us uphill. We'll be able to use concentrated fire on the enemy, and of course our normal army group is set up as most people familiar with the channel know by now. We've got 1st Infantry, although they haven't given me any infantry here. That's because in this battle I'm so outnumbered. The AI is really selective with what troops it gives you. In this case, it's given me quite a few mounted noble units and a fair bit of archers. We may have to dismount cavalry at some point. Some of our cav may have to jump from their horses just to supplement our infantry here, as we just don't have enough guys that can sort of be shock troops. But we'll see how this plays out. The enemy's a long distance away. Yeah, we're outnumbered basically 3 to 1, 720 something to 260. This is a rough battle to try and win here. I don't like normally fighting at night, but this has a really cool ambiance to it. Like, the sky is really pretty, and there's like a smoky mist almost to the atmosphere. So hopefully you can see it pretty well. We're gonna give this battle at night a shot here. I guess you got to have at least a couple nighttime battles as part of the series. So they have a group of horse archers here that's breaking away from their main group. Unfortunately, it looks like their main army, despite outnumbering us fucking almost 3 to 1. Is just going to sit back and play defensive, which is going to make this battle even harder. That means they're going to make us pull away from our reinforcement location. If you don't know what that is, basically, as you get reinforcements in really large battles, the AI tends to put your reinforcements where you entered the map. So it's going to put them way back here, which means I'm going to have to approach the enemy. So that's a problem. Let's see if we can't trap these horse archers. So I've got my 3rd cav in a big long line of shield wall, right? Those guys are just there strictly absorbing this arrow wave. And behind them, I'm looping in another cav division. What we're going to try to do basically is, once they're routing, once they've had enough, right? They typically cycle in and out. I see that line there. We're going to move them right in front of them, try to create a little horse archer traffic jam, and then ram them up the ass with our heavy cav. Right, so I've got my heavy cav following behind me. They're in charge, and look at these guys jammed up, right? It's a fucking heavy horse archer, or it's a horse archer massacre, rush hour style. Nobody can move. I can't move. There's like dead horses in my way, and that was about half their force that just got eviscerated right there. They almost look like they're in shock. They're running at like a quarter speed. I wonder if they're waiting for the rest of their fellows to get out of there. Well, they ain't making it, and most of you fucks aren't making it either. We're just going to pursue these guys. Look at, they're just literally running at like half gallop. Well, take advantage when you have opportunities like this. In a battle, you're outnumbered so heavily. Anytime the AI does something less than brilliant, take advantage. I'm just going to hack these guys to death with my axe. They're literally acting like they didn't pay their taxes for 10 years in a row, and they're looking at 20 years in prison. Like, these guys are suicidal. Well, that was a pretty good waxing of their support group. That was like, oh, flying horse alert. I always try to focus in on flying horses. I think it's a hilarious graphic. But that obviously will help, right? We just whittled down about a seventh of their forces, maybe an eighth of their forces with very few losses. Wiping out lords. They're still like walking in at half gallop. So I don't know. We're gonna pull back now, but that was a strange retreat by them. Basically, they were in no hurry at all. Oops, I gotta have these guys follow me. They're gonna be attacking. They were in no hurry at all, and we killed like another 20 on their retreat. All right, so you see how far my troops are. We're gonna have to bring them up. I have no choice in this situation. How it works is when you attack somebody in the game, you are required to initiate combat unless they choose to initiate combat. And a lot of times when the CPU, when the AI outnumbers you like this 3-to-1, I mean, they have huge amounts of forces over there. A lot of times they will attack, right? Their AI is like, oh, we can win this easy, and they will attack. But they're in a defensive ring. I'm going to be forced to attack, but I can see even from here that there's a weak spot to their defense. I can, from here, if I was shooting arrows, I could hit them from this little ridge right here. There may not be a very big opportunity to do some damage to that ring, but I'll be able to shoot them here. And here's why that's critical. If you don't know, if you haven't played a lot, or even if you have played a lot and you just don't know about it, if the enemy is in like a turtling defensive position like this, right? They're entrenched, they have a big defensive ring wrapped around a bunch of archers and then cav divisions on both sides supporting them. They will sit back, they will eat sandwiches and give you the middle finger until they start to suffer losses. And what's basically happening is the AI is saying, okay, whatever we're doing right now is not working, right? And it adjusts. It adjusts. Now that's actually pretty good tactics, right? In this case, I would argue they should be adjusting already. Like a human opponent would realize, that they're getting shot at. They're going to get hit by ranged units over that ridge. Or maybe they wouldn't. Maybe an inferior human opponent wouldn't know it. But the AI in this case certainly doesn't see or understand that it has a weak spot to its defense. I'm going to bring archers in here, and we're going to be able to really hammer, as I kill some more lords here, we're going to be able to really hammer that circle defense, hopefully with some elevation, and shoot kind of right over their shield wall into their main body of troops. And if that doesn't happen, I will figure something out. I'll fire some javelins. I might even fly in and do a few kamikaze attacks. If you are going to do stuff like that, if you're going to jump into that ring, make sure you got a strong horse with decent armor, and make sure you have the ability to get out of there, right? Because if you get trapped and stuck with a bunch of angry infantry, you're a dead man. Yeah, see right here, I can literally see line of sight. I might even be able to throw a javelin from here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stack my archers up, right? My 4th, 5th, and 8th Corps. Those all are long-ranged units. And we're going to try to basically make the enemy come out of its turtle. I've got these 2 cav divisions. These guys are screening, right? I'm doing that primarily because as I'm setting up these archer divisions, I can't have their heavy cavalry just running us over and destroying our archer wings. They've got like, I didn't see the number. It looks like 80 or 100 heavy cav and swing a punch at them. They've got a bunch of heavy cav that I've got to watch. And these guys here on my right, I've got to watch them charging into our main group. In fact, they're coming after us now. So this cav here, they're in shield wall, and they have one job, and that's to prevent the enemy cavalry from roaring up, right? You see there's just a small gap there. And that's because there's some chance that the enemy tries to push through with their infantry. I want to be able to try a kill box on them. Kill box is where you attack them. Get the fuck out of here. Yeah, so when you're in there, you got to make sure you get in and you get out. Right? You can lop off a head or two, let's get another whack in here. But you got to be careful, because if they start to dial you up either with ranged weapons, like arrows are flying, whistling over my head, or if their Manavliatons start wailing at you, you can be injured or killed very quickly. Let's back these guys up a little bit. We're going to be doing a lot of this is just sort of the, you know, we're setting up the chessboard here for checkmate, right? What I want is I want that enemy to attack me, and then we're either going to do a kill box, or there's a ridge kind of right behind my troops that I might be able to pull a peekaboo ridge tactic on. I guess I better explain that before we do this too. A peekaboo ridge, basically you can think of it as like a location where you have troops, especially ranged troops, and the enemy can't shoot you, can't approach those ranged troops without coming over a ridge. And when they come over that ridge, as soon as they come over that ridge, let's let these arrows fly. When they come over that ridge, they're just shot to fucking pieces by arrows, javelins, combined attacks, and critically, their archers can't set up. Yeah, they're just getting annihilated. Look at that weak spot. Arrows are just raining in there. Let's decrease their morale some more here. Yeah, their units are starting to sort of waver a little bit. You can almost tell by the body language sometimes of troops whether or not they're ready to charge. I mean, they're gonna eventually change tactics because they're getting waxed, right? We're just raining in arrows. They're in trouble. So let's dismount this cavalry. We're gonna need them for the eventual infantry attack. And right here, look at this. This is beautiful. See this ridge? The enemy has to come over this. They will charge eventually, right? And I'm gonna have to retreat to here in a hurry. That's why we're moving that 3rd infantry right away. That 3rd infantry used to be cavalry. Their horses still there holding the line. Now we're gonna set archers back here on this hill with our elite units. That's the 8th, 6th Corps. Those are skirmishers and high-ranked, high-level companions. And our 1 infantry, we'll set him up in the front, and then I'll probably drag the other cav division behind us just to sort of help the retreat not become a rout. A retreat, just the definition-wise, you see the horses, the dismounted horses are going to do a nice job of slowing the enemy down. A retreat is where you tactically are pulling back, right? This is not a rout. A rout is where your guys are saying, fuck this, I'm going to go become a cook or something else. I'm out of here, I'm afraid. My commander's incompetent. A rout, there's no order to it. A retreat, there's an order to it. In fact, in most warfare, they would have what was called a rear guard. And the rear guard basically was the guys that were there to slow down the enemy that was attacking retreating troops, right? You'd have maybe a quarter or a fifth of your army assigned. Flying horse alert. I don't know what happens to them sometimes, but they just go flying. You'd have these rear guards basically help you retreat. All right, so let's spread units out here. Now you notice I'm still using my 3rd cav on that ridge. What I want is the enemy to be able to come over the ridge, but be stopped as soon as they come over it. Look at our withering arrow fire. So what we want to do is try to create essentially a roadblock for the enemy. So we'll let them come over the ridge, but we don't want them just to come in and they don't have full access to the party. They don't get to approach our archers until they get through our defensive walls, right? So we have the 3rd and 2nd divisions. The 3rd is now infantry. It used to be cavalry, and the 2nd is still cav. And you can see the enemy is filtering through, but filtering through is great, right? Because that means my 40 archers and 20 javelin throwers can concentrate fire on those targets. If they come through with 500 troops right now, we just get swept away. Right? So now I have the 2nd cav basically just skirmishing, and what I mean by that is I pulled them back a little bit, and I told them to attack. I want them sort of attacking the enemy as they come in here. Another concern I'm watching out for is their archers coming over the ridge. And look at the death span, right? This is, even though we're outnumbered 3-1, we are smoking the enemy. Now the enemy's in here close enough, we're going to have our infantry 6th and 8th attack. I don't see any sign of their archers yet. I mean, I can see them with my x-ray vision, right, when you hold down Alt, but that's the thing, right? That's the whole point of the Peekaboo Ridge approach, is this prevents them, makes it very difficult for them to come over the ridge. You fuck. The Manavliatons are nasty. Even though I'm on half damage to survive this, potentially hour-long battle, that guy did like a fifth of my health. So these units that came over were mostly infantry, and a lot of them were greatly weakened, right? We shot arrows into them when they were in a circle. It looks like they're actually regrouping already. They're sort of backing off. Sometimes they cycle back and forth. They'll go back, they'll go forward. I think that's intentional. Yeah, I dodged your fucking ass. I want that banner bearer dead. Always kill banner bearers. You hear me say that like every third episode. It gives bonuses to their troops. Once they drop their banner, they lose those bonuses, right? You're going to have a lot more success. You're going to do more damage or whatever that banner was providing to the enemy. It doesn't anymore. Shit, I'm trying to give orders here and I'm getting chased. So what I'm watching for now, critically, is their archers. How are their archers going to try to approach, right? The AI will try different things to try to get their archers in range. Right now it has them on our left flank, probably trying to come around that edge there to get some shots on our troops. Wherever they come over, we're going to confront them immediately. If you have archers setting up, it's vital that you get troops in their face. I mean, obviously the goal is to kill them. Before you kill them, you want troops in their face. You want infantry, preferably shield infantry, and cav with shield, right? You want those guys up in their face, preventing them from shooting. I can see them down there just in the trees. I got a nice block of heavy infantry here, though. We can just kind of plow our road through here. But you don't want their archers setting up. Be careful here I don't take too much damage at the skirmisher. Of course, with so many troops, what was it, 4,400 or something? The enemy's going to have wave after wave of high-level troops. This is not going to be like, you know, we kill the main vanguard and the battle's over. This is going to be a marathon, not a sprint. We're going to have to deal with probably 3, maybe even 4 major waves of the enemy assault. 600-700 guys in each assault. So we're resetting, right? We're going to continue to hold this ridge. Especially want to protect my 6th and 8th Corps. And the reason for that is those guys are doing massive damage, right? My skirmisher division, that has a lot of my high-level companions. And my 8th is basically the best players, the best troops in my army, right? So I need to try to preserve those guys because they're the ones that are doing major damage. If they get dropped here early in this battle, I lose a big part of our damage output. And of course, fighting forces outnumbered 3-1, you've got to keep you know, your machine gunners from World War I. You have to keep those alive. You lose your machine guns and you lose the war. Do you see how protected these archers are? They're sending in heavy cav. A lot of their heavy cav is being busted up, though. You see our defensive screen there of cavalry. That's doing beautifully. And then on our left flank, I have a combination of infantry and skirmishers. We're massacring them so far. At some point or other, we're probably going to start to lose inertia, and that's because of the reinforcement bit I mentioned earlier. Remember I said the reinforcements are going to pop in the map way behind us. Well, even though we've retreated a little bit, I can promise you we're like 200 or 300 units away from where reinforcements are coming in. So we're operating on fumes here, and what I mean by that is a lot of our initial troops are injured. A lot of them are out of arrows or low on arrows. And when we get reinforcements, motherfuckers are coming in like from half the map away, right? It's going to take it like 30 or 45 seconds to come up to us. You can't just tell the enemy, hey, sir, would you guys mind holding your attack while we bring up our troops because your AI system is horrific? No, that's not how it works, right? We're going to face an onslaught, and we've got 2 difficult decisions that I try to fight my way out of here. Fuck you. We're going to have a difficult decision. Do we sacrifice all those units and have an Alamo-type stand, right, where we attack, kill another lord? Or do we try to retreat and suffer serious losses on the way out? We're already getting to the point where our troops are in trouble. I don't see any sign of reinforcements. The AI system, it doesn't give you reinforcements until you're down 40% maybe from your initial starting spot. It's at least, you have to be down at least 30, 35%, I know that. They come in sort of groups, tranches of reinforcement. Yeah, see, we're kind of fucked here. These guys that are here are just going to have to fight it out. If I pull back now, I'm going to lose a lot of these guys. So it's a very difficult decision for a commander to make. I'm going to try to pull a few units back, but I mean, especially if I can get my 8th Corps pulled out of the worst danger. Okay, so see that 106? That 106 is reinforcements. So I just had fucking guys, I'm trying to give orders and these fucks are chasing me. Here they come. You see them way back there? So what I'm going to do with them is basically assign them positions. I assigned archers and infantry to get their asses up here. And here's another critical thing. When you're in a situation like this, use either line or spread for their movement. Because if they are in shield wall, if it's infantry reinforcements and that infantry division before was in shield wall, those guys will come up to the battle still in shield wall. And that means they're moving very slowly. So while your troops are in the fight of their life, right, it's our Alamo, the reinforcements are coming up with shields, being held up, even though they're like 200 or 300 units away from battle. Right? Obviously, there's no point in that. We want these guys rushed up here as soon as we can to stem this enemy tide. I mean, we're already outnumbered. Right now, I see enemies everywhere. I mean, the big advantage we have at this stage is they're down to sort of their middle tier troops. I still see some of the highest tier. Fuck you. Let's see what we got going on. Sometimes in battles, after I fight on foot for a while, I'll jump on a horse just to see what the fuck is going on strategically. Okay. I've got a nice infantry line going on. I have hardly any archers. Hopefully more come as reinforcements. I can lop off some heads here. Yeah, look at their archers are just strung out. I may not survive this battle. I mean, it's unlikely, in fact, that I'm going to survive this battle. I'm outnumbered 3-1. The reinforcement situation is bad as well. We just need to do major damage to this force if we don't have outright victory. Outright victory is going to be very hard to pull off, but even if we did major damage to them, what we could do is we could leave to one of our other locations, hoping that the garrison then held out against this damaged force, right? That's an option for us. Now there's a lot of green death spam. I keep peeking up in that corner in between, swinging my glaive. So things are going pretty well, but again, they have to because we're outnumbered so badly. Okay, another batch of reinforcements. Yeah, 113. No, it says it's 113 cav, but that's not. So we'll bring these infantry up. I have almost no archers. Oh, okay, I see what's going on. The 8th Corps is archers. This is another one of the suboptimal parts of the game. In huge battles, the reinforcements kind of come in willy-nilly. The system, there's not an ideal way for them to do it. Fucking cavalry. These guys are like glue. Straight to the glue factory is what I mean. These little lightly armored horse. They're the white guy getting dunked on by LeBron James. Like, these guys are just here for the poster. So the reinforcements come in, and it sort of assigns them to quasi-random groups, right? My 8th used to be most of my elite troops. Now they've given it to archers, and they do that because they assign different groups reinforcement units as they come up, right? If you have units that are alive, and most of them are archers, it'll assign your reinforcements to that tranche. Hold my shield up here. I like to fly in, do some damage, and then get that shield out. I'm getting a lot better at playing sort of defense in long battles like this. So since some of those 8th Corps had some arrows left, what the CPU did, what the AI did is said, here, have some more of that similar type of troop, and we'll stick them all in your 8th Corps. So even though I want to sort of keep my 8th Corps separate, keep those 8 or 10 guys on the battlefield out of combat, now they're archers, I kind of have to push them back. You sort of have to take what the game gives you. And speaking of take what the game gives you, right now they're giving us a huge fucking cavalry right now. This is a massive amount of horse. So anytime you see cav and you have archers and the cavalry are in your archers, you've got to do something about it. Right? Like I said earlier, we want our cavalry in the face of the archers, of the enemy archers. Well, of course, if the enemy gets them in your face, you're the one that's in trouble. They're doing what you were trying to do. So I'm going to just tear these fucking horses up. A little berserker action here. Fuck you. You can see their reinforcements coming in like live. Their number was just piling up. It looked like the national debt or something. The numbers were just going straight up at a rapid rate. See, again, my reinforcements are way back here, and there's only like 40 or 50 guys left in that tranche that I was fighting. So, quite honestly, the sacrificial. I'm sending those guys in. We're going to bring our other units back to this next ridge. I'm sort of working my way back to where the reinforcements are going to come in, because if I take a couple more beatings, and that's happening when our reinforcements coming in kind of behind us, we're going to lose. We're definitely going to lose this battle. So I've got to pull over this next ridge. Fortunately, there is a little bit of a ridge here. We can play the Peekaboo ridge strategy, but it's not very steep, right? So the enemy doesn't have to go very far to get over the top of it. You can see all their archers right at the edge of it there. Holy shit, there's so many fucking enemies, too. I mean, it's just like a line of enemies half a mile long. They're all archers, too, or mostly archers. Still, lots of green death spam, right? At this stage, one of the major advantages we have over the enemy is, I don't know how many troops we're down. I typically don't bring up the menu until the end of the battle. But we have elite troops still. Because we've dealt them such a beating so far, they're down to tier 3 units. We still have, level 5. I still see master archers shooting them in the face. Britannian Fiends, Falksmen, these are like tier 4. So we have better troops. So even though we're outnumbered, we have at least some chance still to win this battle. I like a side position like this. You can really tactically see what's going on with the battle. Right? I've got infantry and cav approaching. There's nobody behind them. I can get these archers sort of spread out. I might even be able to pull these archers to our right flank here up this hill. And I'm forcing these infantry into the enemy here because a lot of them are archers. And you see what happens. Those troops will move if you use the pointer, right, the little thing when you select a unit and then point. If you select that to move past where the enemy is, your infantry will run right through the enemy, right? It'll just march right by them if they can, right? If the enemy's packed up, they can. But if their enemy's sort of spread open like this, it'll push right through. And then what you do is you're opening up their infantry to be shot in the back by your archers, right? Your infantry march past their guys, and their infantry will then start chasing your archers, turning their back to your troops, right? At which point your archers can shoot in the back. You see all the arrows flying right into the back of the enemy there. I like to clean up too. I like to follow. It's basically, I need like a name for it because I haven't seen any other channels doing it or giving it a tactic. But you're creating like this steamroller, and then you're just following it. Just picking up the guys as they get steamrolled. These troops sort of filter through the cracks. Most of them, or a lot of them, are facing the wrong direction. These fucks are on me though. And it's a lot easier to just sort of clean up their troops that way. And critically, it gets our infantry. These fucks. Fuck you. What did I? Fuck your cousin or something? Critically, it gets infantry in the face of the enemy archers. Right. Again, what we were talking about earlier. You want to make sure the enemy archers have very little line of sight and can shoot as little as possible. Right. There's several different ways you can accomplish that, but this is one of them. It's just have an infantry wave in shield wall rush up on them. Got cavalry kind of all spread out here. We're going to reset our little ridge here. Some of these forces, some of our troops are way too far extended. Got a nice infantry line though, 112 archers. I feel optimistic for the first time in this fight. I still see some of my 8th Corps, right? Some of my elite companions, nobles, family members still killing people. That's a great sign. Hello, horse. Let's go. Again, I like this side view from the tactical approach. And, of course, critically, you're not usually being shot at a lot if you're on the side, right? If you're in the heart of the battle, you're going to get shot off your horse. And then I will kind of fly in and do some damage while the enemy's facing the other way. So you can see now these archers are on the flank. Now they're getting shot by the enemy, but they're also going to be able to shoot all the enemy infantry right in the side, right in the back. So we've got a nice infantry block here. I've also got like 30 cav that I'm kind of using as an infantry block as well. It's half distractionary and half offense. Like if I need to push those guys forward, I can. Do some murderous work in here. These infantry lines are going to break soon because they're down to like 40 guys. I got to fly in here, help them out a little bit. Even though you're fighting lower level troops than yours. it doesn't mean you guys can't get overwhelmed. If there's 7, 8 low-level guys on your family members, they're all dead. My health is getting perilously low. The enemy just seems endless, too. Every time I fucking look, I'm kind of hoping that their numbers are dwindling. I see a huge reinforcement line. I see enemies just pouring up. And of course, this is what happens when you're fighting, what was it, 4,300, 4,400. Bringing my cab back here. Again, we're going to try to concentrate our forces. It does feel like we have momentum. And by momentum, I mean battle momentum towards victory. This definitely feels like a victory can be achieved here, and because of that, I'm going to be willing to take more risks at the end here. Obviously, it's paramount in this game, the way the mechanics work, that you avoid big losses. Now, in this case, we can retreat no matter what. That's one of the advantages of the attacker here. Theoretically, the enemy's busy with the siege. That's a big press of the enemy. I'm just going to work the edges here. Theoretically, at a siege, the enemy's busy. If you start to lose, you can just simply back out, right? You can sort of leave, and their troops, I guess the idea is they can't really pursue you. So I'm keeping that in the back of my head here. But vitally, if your forces are defeated, utterly defeated, you lose all your fucking infantry, or excuse me, you lose all your equipment, you lose all your, not the stuff that you're wearing. Evidently, they just let you keep all your elite gear. That would never happen. That would never happen in real life. But you lose all your food, your horses, all of your men are captured, all of your nobles have to be ransomed, right? I don't have to tell everybody all of this, you probably already know this. The point, though, is that at all costs, we must avoid that kind of a defeat, right? At this stage of the battle, at this stage of my campaign, I think you could argue that would be fatal. I don't know if you remember from the beginning, every single army group in my entire army, and it's only like 7 or 8 at this stage, not that many, are all in this one army for this fight. We've called every single fucking noble, every single guy who's got a retinue of men. We've told them, get your ass out here. We've got an all hands on deck situation, and they're fighting in this fight. So if we were to fight this and get captured, the campaign would effectively be over. I think it's fair to say that the campaign would be over. I mean, obviously, if we're captured in this battle at this stage, not only are all our guys going to require ransom and weeks just to get them back on the battlefield, we lose our entire army. We're going to lose a bunch of troops, a huge amount of troops, right? And also, you lose your equipment that's in your bag, so to speak. And at this stage, I actually have custom weapons from my grandfather's. He was a smith, that are in my bag, and the enemy lords will wear those sometimes. I've actually seen an enemy lord who picked up one of our nasty-looking custom swords, and suddenly they're using it against you in battle, right? So a little bit of realism there. You definitely want to avoid that, right, if you can. So down a fraction of health here. We're not going to lose this battle again. That's not a threat for this instance because we can retreat if we have to. But I really, really want to win this battle. It's really important for the campaign. And so we're going to sort of fight this down to the last guy if necessary. I'm sort of watching the horizon each time. There we go. We've got another wave of reinforcements coming in. There's a fair bit of cavalry. 135 infantry. We'll move those guys up. Not very many archers, but we'll be able to use this cav and really push their forces around. I've got like 6 arrows in the shield on my back. Again, this is another one of those sort of necessary retreats. I had to pull back a little bit here so that we could reconcentrate our forces. You take some losses initially, and then as your forces get in and concentrate, it's worth those initial losses. Well, the good news is that we're down to recruits, and so I guess I can apologize if it's a spoiler to somebody, but this battle's over. If they have recruits and I still have tier 4 troops, I'm confident that this battle's over. Right, they're down to sort of their last, maybe 500 troops, a bunch of peasants with blacksmiths' hammers. This battle is basically over. Now it's just a matter of trying to limit the amount of losses we have. Right? Tactically, it's still important that I don't suffer a bunch more losses. And my campaign is always another battle right around the corner. Down he goes. there's always another battle right around the corner. And so it's vital that in basically every battle I fight, I minimize my losses. I mean, you want to do that anyways, right? You don't want to just intentionally have more losses. But it's important for me to take as many steps and advantages as I can to do so. I'm going to watch my troops kind of mop up here. The enemy might have another reinforcing wave, but you can see from the screen too that victory is inevitable here. I mean, I think sometimes a battle like this at the last minute, the enemy makes some good decisions and you lose, but I like our chances here. So fighting huge battles, people often ask me, I can fly into another tangent here while this sort of auto plays, how come the armies I'm facing are so large? I guess I would say there's at least 2, maybe 3 main reasons why it's the case. First, in the early game, of course, kingdoms don't have the money. They don't have the troop resources to form gigantic armies. So you'll see armies of 500, 700. As the game matures, the cities get bigger, right? They get more prosperity. They upgrade all the walls and whatnot. The lords also gain levels, right? Your enemy lords are gaining levels. They're gaining steward skills. They're gaining, they're gaining perks, just like your characters are. And that allows them to have even bigger forces. And then the other reason in my campaign is many months ago at this stage, I used a mod. I was seeking to make the campaign more difficult. And what the mod did is basically artificially boost some of the levels, the levels of some of the lords. It was about 30 guys that I selected. I don't have the mod anymore, it's not installed. But the vestige of that mod is still present in this campaign. There's still lords in my campaign. You see, pretty successful, 900 versus 4,200 casualties inflicted. That's pretty resounding, right? 900 losses. We basically crushed the enemy here, despite being outnumbered 3-1. But the point is, though, is that I used this mod. It made the enemy lords stronger, and that's why we're facing such huge armies. That and the fact, again, that it's a very late game campaign. This guy is like a 40-something-year-old character that I'm playing, and he's the grandson of the original character. Right? So that hopefully that explains it to some folks. So hopefully you learned a few things about giant battles in that episode. Tactically, there's many things you can do here. As I just I normally don't show people this. There's not too much excitement here, but I wanted to finish a few points. Hopefully you learned a few things for gigantic battles. Critically, you need to identify your reinforcement location and deal with that sort of nuanced part of the game. Hopefully you learned a few more tactical operations like the Peekaboo Ridge. I'll continue to show giant battles in my late game campaign. In fact, my next episode may be down here when I have to fight these other fucks. So thanks again for watching. Please subscribe if you're interested in more. There'll be more videos to come, and I'll talk to you fellas in the future.